Hello and welcome to Blackmans Bay Studios. And our latest minisode, we're going to talk about recent events in the entertainment industry, with the sad deaths of people like Glenn Fry of the Eagles.
Well, just before you start, Mick, I'll tell you what. I mean, I've been on the go all morning. I'm absolutely starving, bloody hungry.
Well, fancy a pie?
Yeah. We've got a pie.
Got some pies here. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
pies from our.
Oh, they're the national pies.
Yeah, they're the ones from the pie and mash shoot.
Yeah.
Do you want one of them?
Yeah. I don't need it warmed up.
No. These are pre-cooked pies.
Yeah, they're pre-cooked. So I don't. Yeah.
You can eat them cold if you like.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, give us that here.
Yeah.
Like so with these pies, see, these pies are fully fucking cooked. All right, and I wouldn't eat an undercooked, but I eat an undercooked pie or a raw pie. No. Would I eat a raw pie? No, these are fully cooked, these pies. Look at them. Look, see it? Right? Right. See the meat in there? Can you see it? It's all cooked. Look. Bloody lovely jubbly. I eat these all the time cold, so I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they only need warming up. Anyway.
So there's been a few people on the... commenting on our pie and mash thing, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Got to give me the right ump, saying they wasn't cooked and all of that,
What would we gain by having uncooked pies, Keith? Why would people think that?
Yeah, beautiful, look. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
shall we carry on?
Carry on now, we're alright.
Yeah, so there's been a spate of sad recent deaths. Glenn Fry from the Eagles. We've had Dal Griffin. From a band that's very familiar to us, Mott the Hoople, who were one of the most favourite bands over the ground, weren't they?
Yes.
They were both 67 years old, and of course David Bowie, who's 69-year-old, died of cancer, which was very sad, but that's not the reason we're talking about. We're not going to talk about them, but we're going to talk about something else, aren't we, Keith?
Yeah, the hero worship of these people. Did any of them change your life, Mick?
No. Now, the reason Keith's asking me that question is because just over a week ago, when David Bowie died, someone on TV said that David Bowie changed their life. Now, we grew up in the 60s, didn't we? With fantastic groups like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Who, Tamla Motown, the Drifters, and we were very, very lucky. They brought a lot of happiness into our life. But did they change our life?
Of course they did. No. There's somebody on social media said that she thought that David Bowie, seriously, was a prophet. A prophet. Now behave, like there's some demigod or something like that, and then of course when they die they have all this public pouring out of grief and all of that stuff, Wait, Michael Jackson, Nick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson died, and there's video of men, 60-year-old men, standing in the street with tears rolling down their eyes. Yeah. He was a dirty fucking paedophile, wasn't he? Hey? Tears streaming down their eyes. This outpouring of all,
you've always had your obsessive fans, though, go and watch a band play over and over again. Films, for instance, go and watch a film over and over again.
Yeah.
You've always had that, but it seems to be more public now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's social media, I don't know.
I think you're right, it is getting worse. And I think that, we go back a little bit. What do you reckon of Johnny Moore, Mick, singer of the Drifters?
He was a great singer.
He was fabulous, Johnny Moore, Now, when he died, bit of sadness, and we would have only got to hear about that by reading the newspapers, or it might have flashed up on the telly, None of this instant stuff now, so-and-so's died, but did you go in the street and cry?
No. What about Levi Stubbs?
Well, Levi Stubbs, another favourite, fantastic, and old Levi died,
quite a few years
ago now, and did he change your life?
No, he didn't change my life. Getting married changed my life.
Yeah.
Having a baby changed my life.
There are people that change your life. Your family or your friends can change your life. You might get some work colleagues that have actually changed your life, and I've had that as well, But these pop stars have never ever changed my life.
No.
You might get a book that could change your life. You know, I understand that people, you know, might read something to change your life, but other than that, you know, you look at them. Oh.
It's just about this celebrity. I just don't get this celebrity business where people seem to be obsessed with celebrities all the time.
No.
And they just seem to be. There must be something missing in their life, mustn't there?
Yeah.
Sadly missing.
Yeah. I mean, as I said on Facebook, you know, I met David Bowie quite a few times, and I always thought he was a fucking weirdo. You know, and his missus. Angie was even worse. I mean, you know, it's something you walk in the room and you actually want to walk around the outside of the room to get away from her, like, you know.
Well, he got shot of her, didn't he?
Yeah, but he was weird. He was really weird. And, you know, let's be fair, in his early days, he was still drug-addled, you know. And, I mean, you can't look up to these. I don't think you can look up to these people. You might like the music. You know?
I like some of the music, not all of it, but I could say that about almost everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I just don't understand this obsession that builds up with people.
No. I mean, David Bowie gave me 50 quid once. Right? She said, it's true, she gave me 50 quid. I stopped somebody pinching one of his guitars out of the Greyhound. Probably a Gibson or something like that, I don't know. You know, cost thousands of pounds. And I stopped him anyway. He came up, he dropped this couple, didn't have £50 notes in, so it was a couple of 20s and a 10. I said, no, you're right. He said, no, take it. He insisted I take it. I thought, all right then. You know. But again, I didn't come back and, you know, worship him, you know, like he was a bloody demigod. It's madness.
I mean, the way I heard of it, I was watching the news and it came on as breaking news and all they said was David Bowie had died aged 69 from cancer. And it was a shock.
Yeah.
You know, oh dear, because it's sad that, you know, someone you know from way back dies, but also let's remember they're awfully close to our age, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
I mean, you look at that Amy Winehouse. The furore over that.
Yeah.
You know? As though she was I didn't think she was I couldn't stand her. I just couldn't stand her, you know. You can't tell me she's got a singing voice.
I don't know, I don't
You
really
know?
know much about
No,
it.
you know, and the stuff that you get and the shit that you get over that, nah, I can't handle it. And how do you feel, Mick, about Kim Kardashian and people like that? You know, now these young girls are using her as a role model these days, aren't they? You know?
Well, that's a perfect example of this celebrity. She's famous for being famous. You know, there's no talent or anything there, and I just don't understand it. I don't read anything about her. I don't watch anything about her because I'm familiar with the name.
Yeah,
but that's all.
To me, she looks like some old slapper porn star. To me, you know, I mean, she does, and the way she acts, she does. You know? And yet, if a daughter of mine came and said, I'm going to use her as a role model, you know, I put it on Facebook because it got a bit of stick over it. You know, I said jokingly, I'd give her a slap. You know, I mean,
oh dear,
I wouldn't, but you know, you know, that's you know, but
not very politically correct.
No, of course it's not. But it's, I just find it amazing. You know, and celebrity pregnancies, Mick.
Yeah, they treat their pregnancy as if they're the only people in the world that's ever been pregnant, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. They sell their photographic rights to Alone magazine or whatever it is these young girls or bloody women read, Cosmopolitan or something. Then they go around flashing their big bump off, you know, when they're 9 months pregnant with skimpy bikinis all over the place. You know?
I think Marlon Brando summed it up perfectly in an interview where he said that when you're talking to an actor, if you're not talking about him, he ain't listening. And I think that's beautifully sums up the way they are.
Yeah.
And it's more so nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you touched on people who are famous for being famous. And that's the culture that's driving, it all comes back down to these reality shows. people want to see it and they think, well, I can do that, don't they?
Well, it's better than going to work, isn't it?
Yeah.
They can earn a living without going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, and not only that, remember there's that model, Jordan, in England, who had her tits done, they had a massive pair of tits.
How many times?
And it worked for her because I read in the paper some time ago that she's worth over £35 million. So if you've got a young girl coming up and she's going to say, whoa, that's the path for me.
Yeah.
Just sleep around with a few footballers, get your tits done and
get them out,
get them out, of course.
Get them out for the papers and Bob's your uncle, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, you're away. Don't have to go to work.
Yeah. No. So, you know, I think it's getting out of hand. You know, it's getting out of hand.
It's fuelled by social media as well. It's got to be, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, John Lennon, you know, getting shot was tragic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That really was a tragic waste.
You know, but I don't know. You know, would you? I still wouldn't go out on the street crying. You know, Elvis died on the toilet, didn't he? You know, like eating bloody hamburgers and freaking banana sandwiches or something like that. You know,
yeah.
And he was drug crazed at the end. You know, I don't know.
No, well.
Yeah. A lot of people love Elvis. You know,
I
like some of his stuff. I like stuff, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of music.
Yeah.
You know, from country to Motown, a bit of rock and all of that. I like it, but yeah, it never changed my life one little bit. You know.
No.
I didn't go to Woodstock, did you?
No, I didn't. No.
That was another fad, wasn't it? You know. You know, and I think that's the other thing. People have got to realise that. You know, in the case of Alan Rickman and, you know, who died again, obviously, recently, these people are actors. You know, they're not something you can, you know, model your life on. They're actually acting. They're acting. And to a large extent, so are these rock stars. They are actually acting when they go on stage. They have this persona and this public persona that they want to portray everywhere they go, and it's an act. And we've said it before on one of our other videos. You know, where back in the 60s you'd see these rock stars and Whispering Bob Harris, who actually was I saw him on the bloody on the telly the other night over David Bowie. You know, they're giving it, hey man, whoa, you know, hey baby, is that heavy? And it's an act. Isn't it?
Didn't Laurence Olivier say once, someone said to him, how did you put in such a fantastic performance like that? He said, it's called acting, boy. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, you know. It's like these comedians that go up on stage and people slag them off, you know, they always racist or is this or that. It's an act, you know.
Yeah.
It's an act with these people, and I just anyway I don't understand it.
No, you and me both.
You know. Now, we're ready to wrap a bit, are we?
Yeah, I think that's about covered it, isn't it?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. Now, you know, we've said about this public grieving. I think there should be a couple of little caveats on there, Mick.
Yeah.
Well, one I think would be the Queen. You know, we don't know the Queen personally, but if she was to die, I think that a lot of people would and should, you know, grieve publicly. And I think that's going to.
She's going to die.
Well, yeah, but when she does die, you know, and I think that's, you know, and I think that's reasonable. And also, there's another bloke that, you know, everybody in Britain can associate with. And I don't care who you are, you've got to admire this bloke. And it's certainly of our generation, we relate to him. And that's good old Del Boy.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
You know?
I thought someone else and all.
Yeah. Who's that?
Bobby Charlton.
Yeah, granted, give you Bobby Charlton. Yeah, give you Bobby Charlton. So,
what about Dennis Law?
Yeah, obvious. Oh, well, yeah, because I forgot about Dennis Law, naturally, you know. Yeah. So, yes.
Jeff Hurst.
Yeah, Jeff Hurst, you know, yeah, there's all, Oh, it's getting a bit big now. Anyway, so we're gonna wrap up, aren't we?
Yeah,
all right.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for watching.
Ta-da.
Bye.